You are watching us on television or online for the show Defense Citoyen. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this weekly segment that focuses on current events, on news related to the defense and security forces. As usual, we'll start with this week's editorial presented by Colonel Mariam Sania.
In the heart of the Sahel, a storm is brewing, but this time it is not one of fear or despair. It is a storm of pride, of resistance, of reclamation. The soldiers of the Sahel, particularly those under the banner of the AES, Alliance of Sahel States, have begun to reap the fruits of their long and arduous struggle against terrorism. Across Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, a new spirit of resilience has emerged, and today, we shine a light on the achievements of these brave defenders of sovereignty. Before we dive in, please take a moment to like this video. Doing so helps the YouTube algorithm recommend it to more people who need to hear these powerful stories of resistance and victory. Now, let's get into it. Each week, the defense segment known as Défense Citoyenne broadcasts updates from the front lines. But this week's editorial, delivered by Colonel Mariam Sania, was not just an update, it was a rallying cry. It began with an ominous but invigorating reminder. Vigilance is not optional, it is essential. Our enemies may be unseen, but they are persistent. And yet, there is hope. Tangible, grounded hope. According to Colonel Sania, the defense and security forces have not only stood their ground, but are now regaining the upper hand. Their efforts, once stretched thin by limited resources and global neglect, are now fortified by collective willpower, regional cooperation, and unwavering patriotism. The AES has become a fortress, not just in the military sense but in spirit, in unity, in vision. The colonel declared, "To those who try to harass us, know that your downfall is inevitable. You who thought you were our guardians are now blind sentries, unable to perceive the world around you." It is a strong message directed toward external forces, those who since 1885 have sought to manipulate and dominate the region for their own gain, but no longer. The AES, once underestimated, is now an enigma to former colonizers. The same nations that once dictated terms are now unsettled by the confidence and cohesion rising from the Sahel. No longer begging for aid or validation, these nations are asserting their place and securing their own future. That vision of sovereignty is not just symbolic, it's being enforced in real terms. Take for example the extraordinary achievement by Malian intelligence services, working in coordination with partners from the Confederation of Sahel States, in what has been described as one of the most significant counter-terrorism operations in recent months. A massive cache of logistical equipment intended for terrorist groups was intercepted. This was not a simple weapons haul. It was a carefully orchestrated supply line, stretching from Asian manufacturers through a transit hub in a sub-regional country, destined for terrorist organizations operating inside Mali. The list of seized items reads like an armory: 20 inflatable boats with inflation systems, 4,000 camouflage uniforms, over 3,000 pairs of gloves, 100 khaki uniforms, and more than 5,000 insignia-bearing patches and badges linked to extremist groups. This kind of shipment represents a logistical artery, one that, thanks to diligent intelligence work, has been decisively severed. Military authorities did not stop at the interception. They have initiated judicial investigations to trace the full origin and network involved in this clandestine operation. And while the seizure is being celebrated, it also serves as a sobering reminder. Foreign actors remain deeply involved in sustaining instability in the Sahel. Yet, what stands out most in this operation is the regional coordination. The AES countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, are no longer operating in silos. Instead, they've embraced a model of shared intelligence, joint action, and mutual defense. This, more than any singular military achievement, may prove to be the most powerful weapon in their arsenal. But the fight is not limited to terrorism. Illegal economic activities that damage the region's ecosystem and fund criminal operations are also being tackled head-on. Operation Joliba is a prime example. Launched by the National Guard's elite Tama Tactical Group in Mali, this operation targeted illegal gold dredging operations along the Joliba River. For years, foreign-backed groups have carried out unauthorized gold mining, installing massive dredging machines that tear through riverbeds and devastate local ecosystems. Despite existing laws prohibiting such activities, enforcement had long been inconsistent, until now. Operation Joliba Sana was swift and decisive. Over a 72-hour period, the operation destroyed 206 dredging machines and 6 large illegal mills across multiple regions, including Bangumana, Damalai, Kangaba, Balan, and Danga. In addition to enforcing the law, the operation sent a loud and clear message. Mali will no longer tolerate the exploitation of its resources or the destruction of its environment by outsiders and profiteers. As one officer stated on the ground, these dredges are often operated by foreigners, and they destroy the nests and flow of our rivers. We must stop this for the sake of our future generations. The military has vowed to continue this campaign until the message is understood. The law applies to everyone. So, what's the bigger picture here? The Sahel is no longer a passive victim in the global war on terror. It is a proactive force, reclaiming its sovereignty, protecting its people, and shaping its own destiny. These operations, whether thwarting terror networks or dismantling illegal mining syndicates, are pieces of a much larger puzzle. They reflect a shift in mindset, one that refuses to accept chaos as the status quo. Furthermore, these victories underscore the importance of unity. No single nation can defeat terrorism or economic sabotage alone. But through the Confederation of Sahel States and the AES alliance, a new model of regional solidarity has emerged, one rooted not in dependency but in cooperation, trust, and strategic action. Of course, the battle is far from over. Threats still loom, both internal and external. The manipulation of media, the recruitment of vulnerable youth into terrorist ranks, and the infiltration of political systems by foreign interests continue. But unlike in years past, these threats are being met with forceful resistance. Indeed, the achievements so far, while remarkable, are merely the beginning. The true test lies in sustaining momentum, expanding regional cooperation, and ensuring that these victories translate into long-term peace and prosperity. The AES countries must now focus on reinforcing their institutions, rebuilding trust in governance, and addressing the root causes of radicalization, such as poverty and youth unemployment. At the same time, continued investment in intelligence and technology will be crucial to staying ahead of increasingly sophisticated threats. One cannot ignore the symbolic weight of what is happening in the Sahel. For centuries, the region was labeled unstable, ungovernable, and dependent. But today, it is challenging those labels and writing a new chapter. A chapter not authored in foreign capitals, but written by the hands of its own sons and daughters. The achievements of the Sahel soldiers are not just military milestones. They are cultural milestones, political milestones, and deeply human milestones. They represent the dreams of young men and women who refuse to surrender to chaos. They honor the memory of those who fell in battle. And they send a message to the world. The Sahel will rise, not as a pawn on the global chessboard, but as a player in its own right. As we reflect on these developments, let us remember this. Freedom in a possessive world is never given, it is seized, and the Sahel is seizing its moment, boldly, bravely, and with unshakable purpose. If this story moved you, please like this video so that others may also hear the truth of what is happening in the heart of Africa. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth coverage on African resistance, sovereignty, and unity. Let us continue to stand with the soldiers of the Sahel, not just in applause but in solidarity, in vigilance, and in the relentless pursuit of a free and peaceful continent. Together we march forward. The Sahel is rising.